All right, Judge Parrish presiding. Against my people perish for lack of knowledge and ignorance. Case number 300,468. Okay. Let's pull up what's happening here with this case. Okay. So we see here two scriptures here, and first, ignorance, or we're going to ask you. I'm going to ask: is it true that you ignored Scripture, Kings, chapter 3, verses 16 through 28? That talks about how there were these two women, both who have had children. One of them's child died, and then they proceeded to try to steal or rob that other mother of their children. And then the other scripture of Genesis 22, 1 through 14. This is a scripture that talks about how Abraham had took his son up to be sacrificed. Is it true that ignorance, that you ignore these two scriptures of biblical narrative? And if so, how do you plead? I don't ignore them, and I plead not guilty to ignoring them. Okay, so are you saying that it is your position that you aren't ignorant to these two scriptures and that you do not aid in the ignorance of their happening within this world? Judge Parrish, I don't operate in any ignorance to these scriptures. Very well, then let us continue. So we have a woman here, witness. I'm not going to give any information of her name. That has given information over and over again to her having experienced both of these scriptures within her life. And we'll start with the first one, Genesis 22, where we have men who are having children with women. And they are freely able to not be in their lives. Now, this scripture would kind of justify them doing that, because all they have to say is, "Oh, son, I don't want to bring harm to you. I care about you so much that I removed myself, right, out of your life," right? And then all it takes is someone to take this entire scripture and put into the minds that parents, to the minds of developing minds and children, that parents operate, or parents who actually believe in the biblical narrative, operate to harm their own children, right? And this is how you get CPS and all these other people involved. And so this is how the abandoned parent, the parent who abandons the child, looks like the hero in the end of it all, because all he has to do is say, well, I removed myself, or I removed myself personally from your life because, it's not you, it's me, right? That spiel. And then show up later on and be seen as the hero in the eyes of that child. Now, when that's all inclusive, of course, it can look like even the mother would be against the child. But, this brings us to that second scripture in Kings 3, where it's the mother. See, the father was the one who was willing to harm the child, right? And then in Kings, and it shows that the mother was fighting tooth and nail to keep her children, while everyone else around her was trying to take them out of her presence or remove them from the household, right? CPS, or any of these other organizations that help create hardships on the mother while the father, who in the biblical narrative is the one seen taking his own child to be sacrificed, right? While the mother is fighting to keep her children safe, she's seen as the wrong one, right? And I'm trying to figure out, like I asked you, ignorance. I asked you, how do you plead to these cases, and did you operate ignoring those scriptures, right? When there's a witness who speaks to you and is telling you, hey, has said to you, all these things is happening to me, which flow along with how they try to manipulate and utilize the scripture in religion, opposed to the spiritual alignment with what it's supposed to, how it's supposed to operate. I asked, how did you plead in the ignorance, or you aiding in the ignorance of these things happening within the world today? And you said not guilty. That's right, I did, because I didn't know this stuff was happening. That's ignorance. Well, I didn't know. You did know, because you were told. So what are you stating, Judge Parrish? It's clearly evident, right, that you chose to ignore a witness coming to you and bringing you the truth of these facts. It is also prevalent that you chose to abide in your ignorance and not faith, right? The fact that there is a witness who have told you over and over again and laid out the happenings, and you decided to stay in the side of ignorance. The biblical narrative says, my people perish by lack of knowledge, right? And so it isn't so much so that you didn't know. It's you chose to stay on the side of ignorance and ignore the plea of someone or of the people revealing to you the truth of the happenings of these two scriptures. So when I asked you, did you plead guilty or not guilty, you said guilty, and it's very prevalent that you're guilty. I'm not ignorant. I'm not sure why you thought you was going to step into my courtroom today and think that you would leave here not being seen as guilty. You are very much